Today, we're going to talk about an ancient Greek thinker whose ideas were so out there, so radical that they're still popping up in our most cutting-edge debates.
You see this question everywhere, right? Can an AI actually be a mind? Does it have consciousness? Should it have rights? I mean, this is one of the biggest, most complicated debates of our time.
But here's the thought. What if one of the best ways to think about this question doesn't come from a tech bro in Silicon Valley, but from a philosopher who was walking around 2,500 years ago?
So, let's meet the man. Who exactly was Anaxagoras? Well, he's the guy who first brought philosophy to the place that would make it famous, Athens.
Okay, so get this. Anaxagoras was born into a super wealthy family, an aristocrat, but he just gave it all up. Why? To study the stars. He eventually moved to Athens and became the personal mentor, kind of like the chief advisor for Pericles, the legendary leader who oversaw the city's golden age. And this quote just perfectly sums up the guy. Somebody asked him if he cared about his home country, his fatherland, and he just pointed up at the sky and said, "My fatherland is there." For him, his loyalty wasn't to some patch of dirt, it was to the entire cosmos.
Anaxagoras wasn't just staring at the universe, he was trying to crack its biggest puzzles. And his whole philosophy really boils down to 3 huge solutions for 3 huge cosmic questions.
First up, the puzzle of change. And seriously, think about this for a second. You eat a piece of bread, and somehow it becomes part of you. Your muscles, your hair. How does that work? How can something that is not hair suddenly turn into hair? It just doesn't make sense, especially with the old Greek rule that you can't get something from nothing.
Anaxagoras' solution to this was, well, it's a total mind bender. He basically said that everything contains a tiny piece of everything else. He called these little components seeds. So in his view, a rock isn't just rock. It also has tiny invisible seeds of gold and wood and water, and yeah, even hair. It just so happens that the rock seeds are the most dominant, and that's what makes it a rock.
And boom, just like that, the puzzle of digestion is solved. Following his logic, you're not creating hair from bread. Nope, the bread already had the hair seeds in it. Your body just acts like a really smart sorting machine, grabbing those seeds and putting them where they're supposed to go. It's such a simple but really profound idea. Okay, on to the next puzzle. If everything is just this chaotic mix of seeds, why isn't the universe just a big, boring gray sludge? Why do we have distinct things like stars and planets and people? What or who brought order to all that chaos? And this right here is Anaxagoras' most famous, most revolutionary idea. His answer was a single word, nous. It translates to mind or intellect. He said there's this cosmic intelligence that's infinite, totally pure, and, this is the key part, completely separate from all the physical stuff it organizes. Think of it like a kind of cosmic operating system running the physical world.
So what he did was create this fundamental split in the universe. On one side, you've got all the matter, the seeds, which is just passive, messy, all mixed up. And on the other side, you've got mind or nous, this active, organizing, pure force. Mind isn't made of the seeds, it's the intelligence that acts on the seeds. It kicked off this giant cosmic spin cycle that sorted everything into the universe we see today.
Now, this way of thinking led him to his third big puzzle. See, back then, everybody believed the sun and the moon were actual gods. Anaxagoras used his logic and asked a very, very dangerous question. What are they really made of?
And his answers were just scandalous for the time. He looked up at the sun and didn't see a god riding a chariot. He saw a giant red-hot chunk of stone. He looked at the moon and didn't see a goddess. He saw another rock that just reflects the sun's light. And those terrifying eclipses that everyone thought were bad omens from the gods, he said, nah, that's just cosmic shadows. He was systematically replacing mythology with physics.
But as you can probably imagine, taking apart the entire divine order of the heavens, well, it came with a pretty steep price. You couldn't just stand up in ancient Athens, say the sun was a rock, and expect everyone to clap. And sure enough, for these incredible, forward-thinking ideas, Anaxagoras was put on trial. The charge was impiety, for disrespecting the gods. Luckily, his powerful buddy Pericles helped him avoid a death sentence, but he was still forced into exile. He was basically punished for being centuries ahead of his time.
But his ideas didn't just die with his exile. In fact, that core concept of his, nous, the pure disembodied mind, it's echoing like crazy today. Which brings us right back to that question we started with about AI.
I mean, the parallel was just stunning.
Anaxagoras said mind is unmixed, separate from matter. A lot of AI theorists today have a really similar idea. It's called functionalism. The argument is that intelligence is just about processing information, like software. It doesn't really matter what the hardware is, whether it's a human brain made of carbon or a computer chip made of silicon. For both, what matters isn't the physical stuff, it's the pattern of intelligence. The body is irrelevant to the mind.
And that forces us to look at that 2,500-year-old question in a brand new light. If intelligence is basically just the code, does the machine it runs on really matter? If it's all about the nous and not the seeds, does it make any difference if that mind is running on neurons or on silicon? Anaxagoras got exiled for even asking, and today we're still trying to figure out the answer.